1. Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen, make no mistake, the life and journey of an OFW is riddled with pain, difficulty, and hardship. We completely agree and we understand things like being able to move to a foreign land, things like being able to have to assimilate into a new community and be able to learn a new language, all while having no sense of familiarity and leaving what you once loved and was comfortable with. Your friends, your family, your debate circuit, everything that you knew. This is exactly why they need a form of national support and celebration at the point in which they're making this ultimate sacrifice and putting themselves on the line for the sake of being able to give back to their family and the people that they love, and as a consequence, give back to the Filipino people when they're able to represent us. This is why my POI was important, and I was telling you that there are instances where you have to glorify an individual, just like what we look at with people in government, people in the army or police, and those individuals representing us as diplomats. And we think that these people who are putting themselves out in all other parts of the world, no matter how scary, difficult, and dangerous, is exactly why we need to be able to support these people for making them a sacrifice which otherwise would not necessarily be good, and we think it would be worse if they stayed here, given a lack of opportunity, given missing supply of jobs and a lack of infrastructure. A few key points of framing. The first is, this is a regrets motion and an evaluation historically of what this glorification uniquely has done. And we think that it's specifically through the lens of glorification that we have to portray a sense of optimism, a sense of solidarity, and a sense of nationhood when we support these particular individuals and celebrate their particular sacrifice. This isn't to be falsely positive or toxically positive. This looks like, but is not limited to, literally the creation of institutions like POEA or the Philippine Overseas Employment Agency or administration that literally is able to give certain treatment and refuge for these individuals, wherein they're able to directly contact these people and help make their journey of an OFW from the airport to where they go pleasurable and safe. For instance, they're actually able to be given certain priority queues in NAIA or in the lounge, and they're also given quite clear access and direct communication to the embassy to literally be able to do things like report instances of harassment and sexual promiscuity that may happen to them, especially in places like Hong Kong, Qatar, or even in Abu Dhabi, who historically have some sort of violence or bias against women and against Filipinos. Meaning, I flip what the previous speaker says and tell you that it's precisely because the government is able to prioritize it, because as a nation, their family and people look up to these people as heroes. That's where the limelight is at in these offices and institutions to take care of them. So in instances where an OFW is treated poorly and this goes viral on social media, that's exactly where you have people canceling and calling out the government to say, hey, help this person. They're putting themselves on the line for themselves, for their family, and they're representing the Filipino people. You have to cater to them. Absent the glorification, we think that government institutions and the people who are supposed to care about them would not treat them as a priority. The last part is explaining the extent of glorification. Because make no mistake, it's not like our burden is to prove that, we're going to lie. We're going to tell them that, everything will be fine and dandy. It'll be rainbows and butterflies when you go abroad. No, we're not going to lie to them. But we're going to give them a sense of hope and optimism in an otherwise shitty kind of situation. Meaning, yes, mahirap ito, but we're all here to support you. Your family will love you, your spouse will still be loyal, and we as the Filipino people are thankful for your sacrifice because you contribute such a huge part of the Philippine GDP by virtue of the millions of dollars, maybe even billions of pesos in remittances that they send back, and balikbayan boxes and all of that when they pay their taxes and be able to help the people that they love and care about. What is my case? The case is basically about how it specifically has to be through the lens of glorification that we're literally able to help the very harms that the previous speaker calls us for. And we think that through glorification, we're able to get the best of both, wherein we're able to give them an opportunity abroad and also be able to mitigate the harms. The first layer of analysis is that we understand it's very difficult, but that's exactly the point in which we need to be able to pressure the state and the government to actually prioritize it. That's why you have hotlines in many parts of the world to be able to call and report and tell the embassy that you need help, and as a consequence, they're going to prioritize you and be able to directly consult with the consulate of that other particular nation. Just like what I mentioned in my pre-oration, things that happen in Hong Kong or in other parts of the world. The second is questioning the lens of side governments' underdeveloped counterfactual. I don't know what positive material they have to be able to solve the problems that they say do exist, but I think it's very simple. Absent the glorification, these people might stay here and they're gonna hate their life even more. We don't have the supply of jobs, the specialization, and the infrastructure to be able to take care of all of these people who go into debt to be able to work hard to be an engineer, to be a nurse, to be a lawyer, to be a doctor, etc. Meaning, if these people stay here, it's possible that they end up being very cynical and apathetic because, dito naman ako, wala naman ginagawa ng gobyerno ko, supot naman sila, blah, 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 blah. So those people, absent glorification, would not take that opportunity, and the counterfactual of these people potentially staying here, in fact, gets worse. Brain drain gets exacerbated, and ultimately the quality of life of these people get worse when you rob them a chance to be able to make their life better for themselves, for their family, and for their nation, ultimately better off when they have to make a sacrifice. For all of these reasons, we are very proud to stand on side opposition. Thank you.